Hello everyone, and in this video, I'm already very excited to make the video. The video is of the 8th game of the Chess Olympiad 2022 between one and only Caruana Fabiano versus one and only Gukesh from India, who has scored 7 out of 7. Just a brilliant result. India 2, Gukesh is currently playing from the India 2 team on the board number 1, and he won all the 7 games. And his team is also performing very well, and the India 2 team is currently on 2nd rank. The first team is on the Armenian, and second is one of the joint leaders with India 2. USA is one of the teams that is currently in 2nd with India 2 as well, and many more teams. So, it's a game between USA versus India 2, which consists of India 2 team consists of Gukesh, Nihal Sarin, Pragnananda, and Ronak Sadhwani. Adivan is not playing, and from the USA we have Caruana Fabiano, Levon Aronian, Wesley So, and Peter Dominguez. So, already very excited to make the video. The highest score have been made by Caruana Fabiano, which is 7 out of 7. And Gukesh is facing Caruana Fabiano, who have scored 7 out of 7. So basically, he needs to beat the man himself to break the record. So will he able to, or will he able to not? We are going to discuss in this game. So let's quickly jump right into the game. So Caruana Fabiano, playing with the white pieces, starts out the game with 1 e4. After e4, we have c5 by Gukesh. Sicilian. Against e4, he always plays Sicilian. A very attacking opening. Knight f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. And we have the Rosolimo attack by Caruana Fabiano, keeping the structure close, not going to open up the position. Bishop b5, and here we have g6, trying to go for this Fianchetto setup, also known as the Dragon, Sicilian Dragon. Short castle by white, bishop to g7, bishop into c6, bc6, rook e1, all very standard stuff. White castle, white captured the bishop, white is developing the rook, protecting the pawn, and there could be some ideas. Queen c7, h3. He played h3 so that there would be no backline checkmates in the future. And now, as we know that he have already not developed his knight or the bishop, or haven't pushed the pawn of c or d pawn, so he's keeping the options open for him. There could be many ideas for white to continue the game. White can either continue the game by playing c3 d4. White can continue the game by playing d3, not opening up the position. Or perhaps even d4 can be idea. So he's not allowed. So basically, Fabiano is keeping Gukesh a bit of mystery. He's not telling his opponent what he's going to play. So after h3, Gukesh played d6. A very standard stuff. This is the normal way to play the Sicilian. e5 by Caruana. Pushing up the pawn, sacrificing the pawn. And basically, if you do not take this pawn, a white can capture this pawn, and you can't capture this pawn with the pawn as the rook is hitting the king. So, for example, if you make an imaginary move like bishop a6, I would say that after takes, queen takes, pawn structure is already very horrible for black. Not a good position. So, black is forced to capture the pawn, and now you see white have given up one pawn, but in the exchange, you see this double pawn structure. The c pawns are doubled. A pawn is isolated, double pawn structure on the e5. So these are the imbalances that white have created by giving up one pawn. But in the exchange, black is having the bishop pair, and he's a pawn up. So after d5, we have d3 by white, stopping this e4 or c4 ideas. But we still have c4 by black. So after c4, white really doesn't want to go for capturing this pawn, because now f5 can be a very dangerous move, followed by e4, as there is no pawn on d3, and now white pawn is also doubled up on the c5. So this can be a very good idea for black. So very good move played by Gukesh, c4. Knight to c3. Pawn takes, and here we have pawn takes. If white goes for capturing this pawn with the queen, this can be also possible way to continue the game. But after queen into d3, you can already sense it that it gives black an option to develop the bishop to f5, hitting the queen. So perhaps this is what Caruana was not happy with. So he decided to capture pawn with the pawn. Knight to h6, knight into e5. Black gave up one pawn because after knight into e5, you actually can't really go for capturing this knight because of bishop into h6. So white basically gets the piece back. So we have knight to f5, bishop to f4, developing the bishop, hitting the queen. Queen to b7, knight to a4, defending this b2 pawn. f6, a bit of like uneasy move. f6 blocks his own bishop but hits the knight. So what's the idea behind it? Like after f6, you already weaken up your e7 pawn. So what's the idea? After f6, white went back with the knight by playing knight to f3. And when I was watching the game, I thought that perhaps black is feeling a bit uneasy because of the f6 move. Because after f6, the bishop is blocked. And after playing f6, you have to play e5. Or else the e pawn is going to be in a very tremendous pressure. You have short castle by black. After short castle, now black king is much safer now. So white played d4, g5. And after g5, I got the idea. He played f6 because he wanted to play g5. And after g5, the position actually looked fine for black. Like the e7 pawn is defended by the knight. So there is no real threats. And you can go for playing e5 in the future. So the position actually looks fine for black. Bishop h2 and here h5. So Gukesh is like, I don't care if you are even Fabiano Caruana who challenged Magnus Carlsen in the World Championship match in 2019. I'm going to simply go for your king. So can you stop me? So after playing h5, white played rook b4 because I think perhaps playing g4 can be a huge threat for white. So white stopped it by playing rook e4, stopping g4. Queen to d7. Queen to c2. Rook to f7, putting some defender on the pawn on e7, rook to e1. So finally after rook e1, white have accomplished his development. All the pieces have been developed successfully. Queen is putting pressure over here. There is a good square for the knight to come on c5. So I think I would personally feel that white is slightly better. White is having a very comfortable play. Rook e1. Bishop f8, and after bishop f8, you can already sense it that perhaps black is not feeling very comfortable. It is a very passive move. It is defending his own pawn on e7. So here we have queen to e2 by 1, trying to put more pressure on the pawn on e7. Black continued the game by playing queen d5, putting pressure on the pawn on a2. Knight c3, attacking the queen and also defending the pawn. Queen d7 back, queen to c4. Queen b7. So basically couple of moves were played. After e6, now the pawn is defended by the bishop. Slowly black made some progress. Queen d7, and here we can sense there is a repetition of a position. And after queen d7, if like Gukesh was fine with a draw, it looks like, because he's just repeating the position, and black actually doesn't feel happy in this position because black is completely passive and white is the one who is having the control in the game. Although, according to the engine, it's an equal position. Nothing is happening. But practically wise, guys, it already looks white is very comfortable. Like, every piece is well developed and white is in a perfect control. So, at the place of repeating the position, white decides to play a3. Basically, Caruana is going for a natural approach, more practical approach. He wants to continue the position because white is much better in the position, practical wise. a5 by black. Gukesh is like, you don't want to draw. I'm not going to give you a5. Bishop a6 is going to come, and now it looks like perhaps black is starting to get some boost. So after a5, we have knight to a4 by white. Queen d8, again a passive move. The idea of playing queen d8 was to stop this knight to b6. So we have b into a5, rook a5, knight to c5. And guys, knight to c5 was not a good move by Caruana Fabiano. At the place of playing knight c5, the best move could have been to play queen to c2, because after queen c2, if you sense after rook a7, trying to hit the knight, white can play knight to c5, and after if black goes for capturing this pawn, white can go for capturing the e6 pawn, and after knight into e6, it's completely fine position, and there is no problem. But after knight c5, black played a very nice move, queen to d5. Centralizing the queen, asking for a queen trade, and it looks perfect. So definitely you would not like to trade the queens because after takes, first of all, it makes black pawn structure very good. It hits your rook. Now on the next move, if white goes back with the rook, black is even a pawn up. So black is very healthy. That is the reason Caruana decides to come back with the queen. And here we have rook into a3, a good move by Gukesh, and from here, Gukesh starts to get better. Like he's a pawn up, black is a pawn up. And the fun part is, after rook into a3, you can't really go for capturing the e6 pawn, because many of you are thinking that after takes, like here, the position is fine. Nothing is happening. But guys, actually after rook into e6, black is going to play rook into e6, rook into f3. A very spectacular move. If you try to capture this, black can capture this, and eventually black is complete piece up. And if you capture this rook with a pawn, trying to defend the rook, knight into d4, boom. The queen is attacked, the rook is attacked, perhaps the f3 pawn is also attacked. It's over. It's winning for black completely. That is one of the reasons, that is actually the only reason white cannot go for capturing the pawn on e6. So white played rook to d1, trying to add some defender on the pawn on d4. Black played rook to a7. He doesn't care. He wants to take the a5. g4. And actually, at this particular moment, Caruana, while making the move g4, was only having 7 seconds on his clock. So already, tremendous pressure. He can't think of any move, because I don't know why, but playing g4 was a completely horrible move. The best move that he could have played would have been to play knight into g5, and after fg5, rook e5, queen d8, and after queen into h5, perhaps white gets some counter play. After queen into h5, black can play knight g7, hit the queen, and after queen into pawn, there is a spectacular move from black side, queen into d4. We can't capture the queen. It's a back rank mate. It's a back rank mate. Nothing is happening. So basically, till here, the position, this position can be the best for white to continue the game, but because it actually gives white some counter play, and the position is crazy, so anything can happen. But definitely Caruana do not want to lose any piece, so he played g4. But this was a horrible blunder. He's having 37 seconds in his clock only. And it's move number 35. Hg, knight h6. So he have to, this is the move number 35, and he have to make 5 moves in a row to gain this half an hour on his clock. Bishop to g3. e5 by black, a spectacular move. If you try to go for capturing this, your knight is simply hanging, so you cannot go for it. Knight into pawn. This was one of the only options that Caruana was having to continue the game, or else pawn takes pawn is already a very strong move from the black side, because it also hits the knight, and the knight is actually having no space to go. So very uncomfortable from to play with the white pieces now, because e5 was a spectacular shot by black. So he decides to capture the pawn with the knight, gave a sacrifice, but I think it's worth it because he got the 2 pawns, and after rook into e5, the queen is attacked, the pawn is attacked. So a fine move could have been to play queen d8 to protect the pawn, but bishop into g4 is a spectacular move again. If you try to capture the queen, after takes, rook into this, like after this all stuff, what's happening is black is simply a piece up. Like after rook e1, rook a1, takes chicks, you can just sense it. Black is a piece up. So it's winning. So white can't trade the queens. So he played this queen to d2 move. Queen to f3 now by black. Hitting this rook. Rook into g5. Check. Rook g7. Rook e1. Bishop h3. And now there is a mate in one on the g2 square. So Caruana decides to play bishop d6. Trying to make the position complicated. You can't play queen g2 because the rook is covering it. And after bishop to d6, the best move would have been to play knight to g4. And it's complete. It's mate in 11. Like after knight g4, you basically stop this rook from protecting the g2 square. But now comes rook into g7, bishop into g7, rook check, king h7, queen check. You need to see everything. King h6, rook check, bishop f6, bishop check. You can't play king h5, it's a draw. Queen h7 and it's a draw. It's a repetition. You have to play king g5, and after king g5 you can say that it's winning. No, it's winning. No, it's winning. But very complicated. Instead, Gukesh went for an easy approach. Bishop into d6, simply capturing the bishop. Rook takes, king takes. Queen check, king h7. King f7 was also winning, but yeah, you can just sense it. Like he doesn't want to take any risks. He simply kept the king very safe. King h7. There are no checks. So knight e4 by Fabiano. His threat is to play knight f6, a very deadly threat. So what do you play in this position? Feel free to pause the video. And what are you going to play with the black pieces? After playing the move, your opponent Caruana Fabiano is going to resign. So what are you going to play? Feel free to pause the video and try to find the best move for black played in the game. So okay, so all of those, I'm much sure that you must have came up with a move. Queen into e4, spectacular move, and after queen into e4, playing with the white pieces, Caruana Fabiano decides to resign the game, and we have the winner. 8 on 8. History have been created. This boy is not stopping. Caruana Gukesh from India. He have reached India 2, just behind Vishwanathan Anand. Surpassed Pentala Hari Krishna, very strong grandmaster. World number 20. One and only Gukesh. After queen into e4, the reason white resigned in this position was because after rook into e4, it's a check, and basically it's a back rank mate. So you can just get it like after here, it's a mate. So we can actually say that in the start, when white played h3 to stop the back rank mate from the future, it didn't actually help him to stop it because it's still back rank mate. So yeah, a very interesting game, fascinating game, brilliant game played by Gukesh and Caruana Fabiano. If actually Caruana wanted, he could have made a draw. Like I don't know what was the right position, but around here I would say. Like over here. No, not here. Yeah. Over here. If he wanted, he could have made a draw, but he wanted to keep the position ongoing. Because definitely white looks better in this current position. But it's actually equal. He decides to continue the game. But after that, I think black actually played perfect chess. And he decided to not mate his opponent, but to make him resign. Fantastic, brilliant. I'm not having words to convey. He's on 8 on 8. He's on fire. He's not stopping. And I don't know what's going to come next. So definitely now the upcoming games are also going to be very interesting. And I think any player coming against him would be like, man, I just want to draw. He is on full 8 on 8. It's just completely unbelievable. So yeah, this was the interesting game played in the 8th round of the Chess Olympiad 2022. So guys, if you love the analysis of this 8th game, then make sure to like the video, share this video with everyone, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new to our channel. I'm going to come up with these interesting recaps So till then, stay tuned and keep watching One Shot Chess.